Hello YouTubers, Zagro here, and this is a response to an open tag from Maximum RD of what video game systems have you purchased to play one primary title, one game, the game that if the company would not have made this game, you would not have purchased the system. Well, that's hit me. It's hit me a couple of times in my life, but the most recent one's a couple of years back. And it was Splinter Cell. The original Splinter Cell for... I can get this booger up here. The original Xbox. I have a small collection of Xboxes now, at least these original ones. I used to mod them. I think I broke something. Ow. Here's another one. These are actually leftovers from the days when I used to pick up these things in groupings. One of these two works perfectly. The other one has a drive problem. I don't know which one it is. Actually, I think the one missing the drive cover here is the one with that works properly. The other one has a disk read error from time to time, and I got to figure out which one it is. Because oddly enough, I've pulled these old Xboxes out to play a version of Splinter Cell that I haven't played before, which is Splinter Cell Double Agent. I actually purchased it for Steam, and I purchased it for the Xbox, but I moved very soon thereafter and never got around to putting the equipment back together again, because 90% of it was in storage, and since I've been getting stuff out of storage recently, I've started to kind of get my equipment back together, although it's made my little living space a walking disaster area, even more so than normal. But I don't have my original Xbox anymore. I sold it for quite a pretty penny, considering it had no lid. It was the very first Xbox I modded, and the little funny story behind it is, when I installed the mod chip, this was your original LTP or LCP mod chip, and I did all the measurements for the wiring and everything. I soldered in the pins. Everything went perfectly. I even put a little pencil mark down where to glue the mod chip to the side of the unit, because it was on a little circuit board and it had a programmer. All went well. Put the mod chip on, started to reassemble it, put the DVD drive back in, put the lid on, didn't work. Took the lid off, worked. Put the lid on, didn't work. Took the lid off, worked. Come to find out, I put the mod chip on the wrong side of the pencil mark. Putting the lid on, put just enough pressure on one of the cables to pull it just slightly free from its position. No matter what amount of machnigging I did, I could not get that cable to fit in there properly. And unfortunately, it was a little light ribbon cable, which was not readily repairable. Or not repairable, but extendable. So, my Xbox, my personal Xbox, lived its entire life with no lid. And believe it or not, somebody bought it for $300. They thought it was neat. I'm like, you want to buy an Xbox with a piece of plexiglass used for a top? Okay. So that's how that got sold off. But yeah, I'm pulling these old guys back out, and I'm going to be playing me some Splinter Cell here as soon as I reclaim the game itself, which is in a desk drawer, turned the wrong way round, with two 300-pound air conditioners sitting on top of it. The desk, that is, not the drawer. So I have to wait for somebody to move the air conditioners to turn the desk around to get to the drawers to get to some of my old games, which happens to have that particular copy of the game in it. The real sad thing is I can get the drawer just open enough to see the game in there, but there's no grabbing the game. Like I said, though, I did purchase it for the PC, but Microsoft, in its unbelated wisdom with Ubisoft, have made it impossible to use anything but an Xbox 360 controller in the game. Boo! Boo! I don't have an Xbox 360, nor do I have its controllers. So I'm screwed. And the keyboard layout is impossible to use. But yeah, as my little collection of 2 Xboxes, there's actually 5 of them in total, but the other 3 are in relative bits and bobs. Actually, I think I used most of the bits from those to make these 2. So we'll see which one of these decides to work better. And I'll have fun playing my old Splinter Cell. Now, I did get other games for the Xbox, but its predominant use I ended up using as a mod machine and an emulator rack. I did play some racing games, GT 2000, and some other racing games I don't remember the names to. They weren't really memory biters. I had a Ford simulator, an off-road Ford simulator, which was a piece of crap. It had controls like, I swear it was easier to control a real remote control car with bad reception. But yeah, it did have some good racing games on it, and I loved playing them. Other things that I have purchased in my life just to play a game. Now, you mentioned computers. Now, I did not buy an entire computer to play a single game, but I did spend $600 on one part for a computer to play a video game. And that would be the Magic MPEG decoder. Which is actually a slightly off-brand version of it, but it was still a Magic MPEG decoder. It was just rebranded. If you took the sticker off of the chips, everything was the original. Yeah, they rebranded it by putting stickers on the chips, which actually caused an overheating problem. I bought that just to play one game. That one game was Dragon's Lair, and this was back in the 90s, early 90s, mind you, or mid 90s, early to middle 90s, and I enjoyed the daylights out of it. I only ever played Dragon's Lair, which actually came with the card, and was perfectly happy with it. I think I did eventually end up getting some like VCDs or what have you, just because, hey, you know, you got it already. Other game systems. Let's see. Not really. Not for games. Not for a particular game. Let's see. Nintendo 64. This, though, was not during its heyday by any long stretch of the word. I purchased a Nintendo 64, which I do still have. It's in storage. In fact, I saw its butt end sticking out at me when I was getting out the Xboxes. Unfortunately, the cables for the N64 are in another location altogether, so there's no use in bringing the unit in right now. I bought it off of eBay, and I bought it for one specific game, and only one specific game at the time. And come to think of it, I don't think I've actually gotten any other games for it other than the ones that came with the auction, which was some Pokemon gibberish. I have to say, I did not mind receiving the Pokemon Stadium because my sister was into Pokemon at the time, and it was nice having something in common with her, so I played the old Game Boy versions of the Pokemon games along with her, and having the Pokemon Stadium let me play it on the N64. But the one game I got the N64 to play was Conker's Bad Fur Day. Fun game, hilarious. It was nice that they made a remake of it as good, but they should have made a sequel. A proper good sequel. See, any other game systems? No, not really. My purchase of Game Boys was not for a particular game. I purchased probably 7 or 8 Game Boy Advances. Kept one for myself, but I didn't purchase it for any one particular game. I got them to mod. I would make them so that they could work on a large television, using a mod kit that would capture the video off of the LCD and put it onto a TV, which actually made it playable for me. You can tell I've got some Coke bottles on. Other than that, I had a little memory cart that I could use with it. None of the games really did anything for me for the original, for the Game Boy Advance. Oh, I got interested in a few, but they weren't like, gotta have it. I mean, even after I was playing the games, I could have been with or without them. I just played them out of sheer boredom. Well, the games didn't for me. They kept me interested, or I wouldn't have played them, but, you know, it wasn't a particular thing. I got the PSP for... here, hold on. The PSP I actually did purchase for a particular game, but it was during an interesting time. Katrina, which was a really bad storm, and most people should know about it, that hit New Orleans, kind of uprooted a lot of us. And I got stuck months outside of the city. So I ended up getting a PlayStation Portable because it was about the only thing I could get my hands on at the time. And I bought it because of this game right here. This is a nice game. I love playing it. In fact, I've replayed it a couple of times. To give you my entire PSP repertoire of games, I have this game, and I have Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. That's it. This game and Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. I did play Loco Roco, the little blob game. I did play that, and it was fun as hell, but I didn't buy the game. A friend of mine lent me the disc for a couple of months, and I played it end to end 3 or 4 times. It was fun. Grand Theft Auto Vice Cities, I did not purchase the game to play at all. I purchased it to hack my PSP. My PSP now predominantly plays Nintendo and Sega Genesis games. That's about it. And that concludes my response to the tag. Zagrosect, signing out.